Have you ever stood somewhere minding your own business and felt just for a moment like you didn't exist to the person with power over your day? Maybe it's that look, the one quick dismissive as if you're just in the way. Sometimes it stings, sometimes you shrug it off, but sometimes that little moment spins out of control and the whole world seems to turn upside down. That's exactly what happened to me. Except in my case, that moment of disregard at a crowded airport didn't just ruin my day, it set off a chain reaction that nobody saw coming. You ever see someone pick the absolute worst person to mess with? Yeah, that happened. And it started in the most ordinary way. Just another delayed flight. Just another line, just another tired face in the crowd. So there I was, blending in with the cattle call in Terminal 3 at Chicago O'Hare, shuffling along with everyone else toward Gate C-22 for a late flight to Dallas. It was all there, the stiff smell of burnt coffee, the crying baby, the endless echo of, "We apologize for the delay." I wasn't dressed to impress, gray sweatpants, an old Stevie Nicks t-shirt, sneakers, nothing fancy, just comfortable. My hair was pulled back in a ponytail. No jewelry, no labels, just a beat-up leather copy of Marcus Aurelius tucked under my arm. If you glanced my way, you'd never guess my real job. That was on purpose. 4 times a year, I take these flights like a regular nobody also. I can see what my company's really like from the ground up. Because I'm not just any passenger, I'm Dr. Evelyn Reed, CEO of Ascend Air. But in line, nobody knows. And that's the whole point. On the other side of the boarding podium stood Rob, middle-aged, tired with that look of someone who's seen one too many bad days. You could feel the grudge radiating off him, the way he scowled at every bag, every question, every little inconvenience. 15 years on the job, probably expected more from life, but here he was scanning passes, shouting "wheels first" in the sizer people, as if it was a war, not a boarding line. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's not the work, it's the feeling that no one cares. I almost felt bad for him. Almost. As I approached, Rob zeroed in on me. Saw the sweats, the carry on the satchel. Didn't even say hello, just grunted. Only one carry-on and one personal item. I told him politely this was my carry-on, and this, my satchel, was my personal item, same as always. But today, Rob wanted a fight. That's too big, has to be gate-checked. I knew the policy. I wrote the policy for crying out loud, but he was digging in. You could see he'd already decided I was going to be trouble. Trying to keep it calm, I said, "It fits. I fly with it all the time." But that just lit a fuse. "Ma'am, I've been doing this for 15 years. That doesn't fit." He pointed at the metal sizer like it was a guillotine. Folks behind me in line started sighing. The younger agent beside him, Maria, looked away, probably embarrassed for both of us. I slid the satchel in snug, but it fit. Didn't even have to force it. That should have been it, but Rob's face turned sour. He wouldn't back down. "See, you had to shove it in. Too tight. Gotta check it. You're holding up the line." Now, it wasn't about the bag. Not really. It was about him refusing to be wrong. Something in me snapped. I looked him dead in the eye and said, "I did not shove it in." "Your own policy, Section 4, subsection B, I know it by heart. My bag fits." He wasn't ready for that. Passengers don't quote policy sections. He got angry, real angry. "You don't get to tell me the rules. You people always think you're special. That you people just hung there heavy as a rock." Maria looked like she wanted to vanish. I felt my own pulse climbing, not from fear, but from that ugly recognition this wasn't just about a bag anymore. Rob jabbed a finger in my direction, his voice sharp. "Give me the bag or you're not getting on." I kept my cool even as my heart pounded. "I'm not doing that. What I am going to do is take your name and report this." That was all it took. In a flash, Rob lunged forward, grabbed my arm, and shoved me so hard I hit the metal frame of the jet bridge. I remember the shock, the pain shooting up my back, my book skittering across the dirty floor. Time just stopped. Everyone went silent. Maria gasped, and Rob realized maybe for the first time he'd gone way, way too far. I got up, dusted myself off, picked up my book. All those years dealing with crises and boardrooms kicked in. I knew panic wouldn't help. Robert Washington, I said, as cold as I could manage, reading his name off his badge. Per FAA regulations, physical assault by an airline employee is a federal offense. And a Send Air policy explicitly forbids touching a passenger except in self-defense. Rob's face was a mask of panic, now white as a sheet. Maria rushed over, worried I was hurt. "I'm fine," I said, "but get your supervisor." Rob was shaking as he called for backup, mumbling excuses about me being difficult. Thompson, the duty manager, arrived looking like every guy you've ever seen try to talk his way out of paperwork. He didn't even look at me, just asked Rob what happened. "She was disruptive, wouldn't check her bag," Thompson said, half listening, already on damage control. I cut in. "Your agent put his hands on me. That's not a disagreement. That's assault." That got his attention. But instead of concern, he offered me a $75 voucher and a fake apology, like my pain could be wiped away with a coupon. I could have ended it right there, pulled out my CEO credentials, watched them both wither. The temptation was real, but I wanted to see how far the rot went. So I refused the voucher, told them I was filing a complaint, demanded their full names and employee numbers. I left the gate still shaking and sat down in a quiet corner. The more I thought about it, the angrier I got at them, at the company, at myself. If this is what we put our customers through, something had to change. I called the customer service line, got rerouted a dozen times, was told I needed to fill out a form on the website for liability reasons. No incident number, no confirmation, just a digital black hole. It was a system designed to frustrate you until you gave up. But I wasn't giving up. I laid out the facts in the online form, included every name, every detail, and hit submit. The auto-reply told me to expect a response in 5 to 7 business days. For a physical assault, 5 to 7 days. Meanwhile, back at the gate, Thompson filed his own report, painted me as the aggressor, said I stumbled, refused to comply, made it all look neat and tidy. I knew how the game was played. A couple of days later, I got an email from some faceless customer relations specialist. They offered me a $150 voucher and said the staff had acted according to procedures. No apology, no investigation. That was all I needed, the proof that the whole culture was broken from the bottom up. So I made a call, my real one, the kind that sets off alarms. Called my assistant, cleared my schedule, ordered an emergency meeting of every executive at Ascend Air. Next morning, the boardroom was buzzing, VPs from all over, expecting a financial crisis or maybe a takeover. They didn't see it coming. I walked in still feeling the ache in my back and laid out the whole story, photos, call logs, emails, the works. Didn't tell them it was me until the very end. I watched the color drain from their faces. The silence was electric. Then I told them Jane Doe was me. It was the nuclear option and I took it. Charles Sterling, our VP of North American Ops, was suspended on the spot. Thompson and Rob were placed on leave, never to return. But it wasn't about revenge, it was about cleaning house. We froze. The customer service department brought in outside experts, rewrote every training manual. Every complaint would now be handled by a real person, empowered to fix problems, not hide them. We launched the Passenger Zero program. Everyone from baggage handler to pilot had to treat every customer like they were the most important person in the building, because they might be. Maria, the young agent who tried to do the right thing, was brought in to help build the new training. I made sure to sit in on every session to tell my story. No notes, no polish, just the raw truth. I told them, look at the person next to you. See them. Don't just process them. Slowly things changed. Customer scores started ticking up. People felt empowered, like they actually mattered. The story of what happened at Gate C-22 became company legend, cautionary and inspiring. 9 months later, I flew the same route, same gate, just to see. The agent handled a stressed-out family with patience and warmth. No drama, no power trip, just simple human decency. When it was my turn, the agent smiled. "Welcome aboard, Ms. Reed." That was it. It was unremarkable, and that's what made it so perfect. For the first time in a long time, I felt hope. And you know, that's what this is really about, not just a story of mistaken identity or corporate drama, but about empathy, real accountability, and what can happen when a leader actually walks the walk. I took the worst day of my professional life and used it to make things better for everyone who came after me. If you've ever felt invisible or mistreated by someone with a little power, I hope this story shows you it doesn't have to stay that way. So what about you? What's the worst customer service experience you've ever had? Did anyone ever make it right? Share your story in the comments. Let's talk about what real justice looks like one story at a time.
Xin chào các bạn, mình là Trinh, mình phụ trách viết content. Trên đây là những công việc của mình là mình lên mạng xã hội tìm hiểu những video.
Next one? Alright. Thank you, man. Hey, if you guys have any trouble, let somebody know. Please.
After the tree to hold on to. Yeah.
Yeah, you're the fence.